You're coming too.
From Washington State to now sunny California, we've been at it for 5 years. It began with selling our previous boat and taking that money to buy tools and build a shed. We assembled keel pieces, poured the ballast, and raised all 16 frames in the first 6 months. Now, half a decade later, and at a slower but steady pace, we're in the water. We're Salt and Tar, and this is our life.
Life is interesting. Life is crazy, you know. Kind of developed the dream that I've developed, and I never thought that it would have turned into this, so thank you. Thank you for making all this possible.
Like, subscribe, and support if you can. Last time, we laid a lot of blue tape and paid the seams of the main deck planking just before the weather changed course from fall to winter. And it hasn't really stopped raining. So we dipped out of town until we saw a clearing on the forecast. Today we're shaking off the dew and picking up where we left off. What's the goal for the day?
Goal for the day, first start by organizing the chaos in there of weeks of constant rain and freezing temperatures. Get the tarps off, get the solar cranking, get some juice in the batteries, and then start making patterns of the bed area for the new bunk and patterns to finish off the dinette and the port quarter berth, and
See how far we get.
Village dry swamp.
We just got back from a couple-day trip down to visit Garrett's dad, and we're pretty excited to be back on the boat. And we have our first 4-day weather window where it's not going to be raining. 3 days are going to be partly sunny, today being the best, and feeling that sun on your face for the first time in a week, that feels pretty darn good. We're hoping to bang out some pattern making work, get some of the interior back to being nice, and then our ports came in the mail, so it's maybe will happen this weather window, but if not, next one for sure. We're really excited to get those on. Come on, buddy.
There'll be rain, and there was rain. There'll be rain, and there was rain. Me, everything.
Oh boy. We discussed winter projects. Not making a list, as this time of year, projects totally depend on weather and, let's just be honest, motivation.
Ports, natural light, some airflow, even on days like this when it's not that warm, but it's not bitter cold. It'd be nice to at least get some airflow in here. Oh, my back is not happy.
Is it just starting?
Yeah, well, started on the drive over. Oh.
Not the day for it to start acting up. You're going to be underneath the foredeck.
I know.
The years are piling up, and the toll on Garrett's body is apparent, and the cold doesn't help. We were 23 when we started building, but we joke he feels 73 now. Thanks to his genes, he's struggled with chronic back pain for most of his life, but also got stubbornness, so we press on, acknowledging some limitations. getting our bunk back in order. So we were able to use 2 of the panels from the previous bunk rendition. So now we just have to make 2 patterns for the last piece and then this tiny skinny piece up here. So while Garrett's getting his pattern stuff together, he's put me in charge of the vacuum. Is that about right?
Yes. Awesome new glue gun you got me. Thanks, Skip.
You're welcome. It's all about the little things, right?
Yeah. Oh.
You want to give a quick synopsis on how you do the patterns? Just like,
Yeah.
I think mostly like what you use.
Use door skin or just like really thin, crappy, cheap plywood. I just run it through the table saw and rip it all to like, I mean, 3 inches or just like 2.
Just strips.
2.5. Like, well, you want it to be wide enough so that it's not gonna have any edge set in it. So you want it at least this wide. Because if it's thinner like this and you had a longer run, it could potentially like kind of bow and distort your pattern. So I like to keep it still fairly thick. And when you use the door skin, it's really convenient because you can just use snips like this and just cut it like scissors rather than having to use a saw. It just makes it really easy. I first started doing it with a staple gun and that works, but it's just a little more inconvenient. Glue gun is the shiznit. It's really nice because shears, you just snip it right off. And see, where am I going with it? Where am I going with it? Where am I going with it? Probably should just go, might as well just go all the way.
As close as you can, yeah. Do you think you'll do like a nicer piece that's a little bit taller so we don't lose things behind the bed?
Yeah.
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 Kind of frame in our mattress a little. Garrett's got mostly this panel all pattern made, but the curveball is this is where the mast comes down.
I'm trying to remember what the diameter of the mast is.
Thought it was 7 1/4.
That's what I thought it was.
So you've dangled here a plumb bob.
No, it's not a plumb bob. A plumb bob hangs with gravity so you get a perfectly vertical line, but I don't want it vertical because our mast is not vertical, our mast is raked aft. So I put the screw in the center of the mast step, screw in the center of that, so this should be the center of the mast. So if the mast is 7 1/4, then I'll measure 3 5/8 out from it. 3 5/8. It's 7 1/4, so half of 6 is 3 1/2, half of a quarter is 1/8. Half plus 1/8 is 5/8.
I see. And then you're gonna want to cut it a little bit wider than that too, but this just marks the mast.
Yeah, this just tells me exactly where the mast roughly is.
So is this pattern done?
I believe so.
All right, you earned your beer.
Yeesh! 1, 2, 3.
I was late.
Oh no!
I don't know. got laundry going inside, and Garrett's tracing out his patterns.
Use that piece of copper, hop on back here. So you're going to cut copper chief guards basically for this, and
Like the whole length of this?
not, well, actually, might as well. You're going to cut your strips, and then you're going to take one of those tubes of SL30. There's still one on the caulking gun up there.
Okay.
And smear it on the back, and then down here. And you'll probably need some masking tape or something for these ones, but
Okay.
just where these guys are.
Okay.
Just cut 2 squares. Just where the metal is. So
Okay.
that's your mission.
Okay.
I believe in you.
Okay.
Looks great.
Cool.
The only thing to be sure of is that there's not a sharp edge that could possibly cut that. So you might even want to
Fold it over.
fold it. So get a nice even fold, and then get yourself a hammer.
Pretty neat, actually, this copper. It's the first project that we're diving into it again, but this is leftover copper from when we copper sheathed 4 boats ago?
I stopped counting a while ago. Better that way.
But yeah, we have almost a full roll, and then this little sheet, and then we had a bunch of scraps and stuff. We're excited to add some copper into like some of our deck hardware to prevent chafing, and maybe a bar backsplash or something like that. So, it's pretty cool.
I lost the shears that I actually bought for cutting the copper when we did the bottom.
Well,
They worked a lot better.
they probably wouldn't be good anymore because they were probably covered in tar.
Yeah.
That's when I originally got my Tar Queen nickname. That was not from Red Aviva, it was from Ronan. I might regret wearing a light colored t-shirt, but I'm a little cleaner than Garrett, so let's see how this goes. So Garrett, this one is bottom lever go, top lever back off.
Yes. But I mean, it automatically releases.
Okay,
But if you don't hit that top button, it'll kind of slowly still come out.
okay. should have just not tried to save the gloves and put them on both hands, but now we're in it, so.
What you got going on up here?
Well, not as clean as I would have liked, but
It's okay, it doesn't need to be. Nobody's ever gonna see it.
I'm working on that whole easing up on aesthetic stuff. But yeah, these two parts are done. Just taping down the corners because I keep wanting to peel up just a little bit.
I'm gonna point out what you did real quick.
Yeah. This one's the pretty one, but did a run here and a run here. And that is chafe protection for when the water tank is full. Because it's pretty tight, so that way we keep height up here in the forepeak. And yeah. Do I have it on my face?
Nope.
Okay. It's a success. But yeah, that was fun. I can't wait to cover more stuff in copper.
Well, I'm really glad that I didn't have to do it.
You're welcome.
I was gonna say thank you next, but you said you're welcome really quick, so that kind of
Take two.
defeated the purpose of what I was saying. Anyway.
Yahoo!
Here we go. New and improved.
Can't wait to put the bed up here.
Yeesh.
I should probably wash my hands first.
Well, it's not perfect. It's still kind of a disaster, but it's getting a lot better than it was. And we're finally able to spend our first night back on board after a long week of rain and just all sorts of nasty stuff. So, I always forget what I want to say as soon as I turn the camera on. Ruth! So yeah, back on the boat. It's not perfect, but it's coming together, and I think we both feel pretty good about it. And Schwab feels pretty good about it. Huh, Schwab? Schwab, come on. Schwab, yeah. That's right. We got Schwab on board. Schwab's in the house. Isn't that right, Swabbers? As you can see, the boat's still, total disaster. I mean, when we launched, it was just a mad rush and things were everywhere. And but finally finished putting the bed back together today. So Ruth's up here getting our mattress back in and getting everything tidied up. It's the first time we're gonna be able to sleep on our bed.
I'm so excited.
How long? When did I tear this thing out?
Well, I went to go visit my brother for a week. I think it's been 3 weeks since I've spent a night on board. So probably a week and a half, two for you.
Well, but when did I tear the bunk out?
Oh,
because we're still in the boatyard.
Yeah, it's gotta be month and a half, maybe even 2 months, because we were sleeping on the port quarter there for a long time.
Yeah.
Maybe since October. Oh, but this feels so good. And it's pretty nice. You can pretty much sit up.
There's a lot more room.
There's a lot more room.
So since I decided to install our water tank underneath the bunk up here, which we didn't have when I built the first rendition of this bunk, but since we got it afterwards, when I built the first rendition of this bunk, we didn't have this awesome mattress. Thank you, Joel. The original bed frame and everything was a lot higher up, so you didn't really have much headroom once we got the big mattress on there. So since the water tank went in, I figured I might as well pull it out and redo it and make it better, because why not? It's easy. I was able to reuse most of the materials anyway. It's just a matter of pulling it out, making some adjustments and putting it back in. So now it's dropped down at least the thickness of the mattress. Yeah, overall I think just a better rendition, because I'm trying to start changing the way I do things, where before, because there's just so much to do when you're building a boat from scratch. There's so much. I'm gonna climb up here with Ruth.
Yeah, you haven't even laid in it yet.
Oh yeah.
That's nice.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's nice. There's just so much to do when you're building a boat from scratch that, for me, when I build little things like, you know, build a bunk here, or, you know, build a seat or something like that, I was kind of put it together so it's functional, but a lot of times I wouldn't do all the small detail stuff, like, you know, cut the little hatches or cut ventilation holes or, you know, this and that, and figure, oh, I'll come back and do all that later. But it ends up being more work later, because then there's more stuff I have to work around, blah, 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 blah. So I'm trying to do, kind of get things a little bit more complete,
Closer to 100% as it's happening, instead of, you know, somewhere between 75% and 90%, and then who knows when the final 10, 15, 30% is gonna come in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's been just a crazy journey for us, because it's been really important that we live on board. Like, boats feel like home.
Yeah.
And
been living aboard boats since we were 18 and we moved out of our parents' house. We've been living aboard ever since.
So, like, moving up to Washington and inland, that was just weird in of itself. And then we were living in this dinky trailer, and then winters came, and it was just like we started to lose ourselves. So we were like so itching to get on the boat, no matter what that meant. So a lot of the interior had just kind of been to make that work. And now that we've got a lot of the functionality things coming in, like we've got an oven, we have our fridge, sink, it's like, and now that we're back in the water again, we can start plumbing up those things, hence the water tank.
This is
nice.
Yeah, this is nice. I think we chose the right time too. We didn't rush it. I think it feels good. But speaking of that, I gotta go check the fish on the barbecue.
Check the fish.
Yeah.
Get the pillows on the bed. Don't forget my wine. You too.
Whee.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and become a part of our family if you can. Thanks, everybody.